What if I told you the Doctor didn't regenerate by accident? What if Billie Piper's return wasn't part of the plan? And what if Doctor Who, the show that rewrote time, has now forgotten how to tell a story? Because behind the smiling face of nostalgia, behind the applause for the reality war, something is very wrong. Former Dr. Peter Davison has spoken, and his words cut deep. Not just because he's part of the Doctor's DNA, but because he may have just exposed the show's greatest secret. A show collapsing under its own weight, with huge narrative gaps, fake hype cycles, and no real plan. And now, with Disney silently walking away, the showrunner himself, Russell T Davies, has said the words no fan wanted to hear. I have no idea. This isn't just about Billie Piper. It's about a regeneration that was never supposed to happen. A companion who's now the Doctor. Or maybe not. And a series desperately trying to build the future by scavenging from its own past. This is the truth they don't want you to see. Subscribe now, because what you're about to hear could change how you view Doctor Who forever. For 60 years, Doctor Who survived everything. Changing leads, production cuts, entire cultural shifts. But what happens when the show forgets what made it work? According to Peter Davison, the Fifth Doctor himself, we may already be watching its downfall in real time. His words: there are huge gaps in the narrative. It feels like you're watching a trailer for a Doctor Who show you'd like to watch later. Not a story. Not a journey. A trailer. Davison, a legend of the classic era, is calling out the very foundation of the new series. Not because he hates it, but because he knows what the show was. And what it's become. The pacing, too fast. The stories, disjointed. The stakes, emotional noise. But no, wait. This isn't just nostalgia talking. It's the collapse of continuity. And the rise of confusion as content. Where once stories like Caves of Androzani made us feel. Now we rush from one VFX explosion to the next, hoping we don't notice the story's gone missing. And then came the reality war. The final blow. Ncuti Gatwa's Doctor sacrifices himself, only to regenerate into Billie Piper. Except that wasn't supposed to happen. Or if it was, no one will say what it means. Russell T Davies, when asked if Billie Piper is the new Doctor, didn't confirm. Didn't deny. He shrugged. I have no idea. The architect of the modern Doctor, who now claims he doesn't know who the Doctor is. That's not cheeky mystery. That's production chaos. The truth, there may never have been a plan. Sources close to the BBC have already hinted the Billie Piper regeneration was a last-minute decision. Not a long game. Not a secret arc. A reaction. A content stunt. And the worst part, Russell T Davies himself admitted he's moved away from traditional plotting. He's now aiming for what he calls internet age storytelling, where you just hope it generates content. Think about that. The man steering Doctor Who into its 60th anniversary is hoping your confusion turns into clicks. Hope becomes strategy. Speculation becomes substance. And Billie Piper becomes the face of a franchise that no longer knows what it's regenerating into. But it goes deeper, because the Disney full deal, the one meant to save the show, may already be over. Davison's comments were more than critique. They were warning shots. The BBC is quietly preparing for what it calls a soft restructuring of Doctor Who's production line. Spin-offs, delayed. Budgets slashed. Marketing, silent. The signs are all there. And fans are left wondering, is Billie Piper really the 16th Doctor? Or just a face from the past, used to stir up one last surge of attention? And if she's not the Doctor, then who is? Where is season 16? Why hasn't the BBC renewed the series? Why won't Disney even mention it? Why has Davies gone quiet? Why does Peter Davison, who spent years defending the show, now say it's become trailer television? Because maybe that's all it is. Clips, shocks, clicks. A show that once led the sci-fi conversation, now grasping at memory, recycling faces, and calling it storytelling. The cracks aren't forming, they've already formed. Disney entered the world of Doctor Who with promises of global reach, cinematic budgets, and a new golden era. But what did we get? A confused canon, a shrinking audience, and a showrunner who's admitted, on record, that the new storytelling model is about chasing virality over structure. Let that sink in. Not stories, not arcs, not characters, but content designed to trend for 24 hours and vanish by morning. So when Billie Piper regenerated into herself, it wasn't a bold narrative. It was bait. And that's not theory. Behind the scenes, Insiders close to Bad Wolf Productions have leaked whispers of discontent. Scripts rewritten at the last minute. Lead actors unaware of the long-term arc. Directors calling shots without knowing who the Doctor even is in the next episode. And through it all, Disney, the supposed savior, is watching and walking away. According to multiple reports, the BBC quietly greenlit a children's spin-off of Doctor Who, and here's the twist: Disney has no involvement. None. They didn't ask for it. They won't stream it. They weren't even informed. Think about what that means. The BBC, after spending months marketing Doctor Who as a Disney-backed flagship, is now producing spin-offs without them. It's not a partnership, it's a fracture. And the silence from both companies is deafening. Ask yourself if Season 16 was safe, if the future was bright, if Billie Piper really was the next Doctor. Why hasn't anyone confirmed it? Why is the biggest cliffhanger in the show's history met with shrugs? And why is Peter Davison, a man tied to the franchise by blood and legacy, saying there are huge gaps in the narrative? Because even he knows this isn't storytelling. It's storytelling-themed content, a patchwork of references designed to distract us from the fact that Doctor Who is missing the one thing it used to have. This isn't the first time this has happened. Remember when the 13th Doctor regenerated into David Tennant? It was exciting, shocking, nostalgic. But now, it feels like déjà vu, and that's the point. Because Davies has done it again. He didn't move forward. He looped back. He's not introducing new ideas. He's resurrecting old faces. Why? Because he thinks that's what we want. That fans want comfort over challenge. But Peter Davison disagrees. He calls it trailer television. Flash over substance. Pacing over coherence. Moments stitched together with hope that no one notices the holes in between. And let's talk about those holes. In the reality war, we see a Doctor who dies in silence. No arc conclusion, no companion farewell, no clues as to who or what they become. And then suddenly, Billie Piper. Not as Rose, not as Bad Wolf, as the Doctor, we're never told. And then nothing. No official announcement, no Season 16 teaser, no follow-up, just silence. Because there may not be a Season 16. Multiple sources suggest that Disney FLAW had only committed to 2 seasons of Doctor Who, Ncuti Gatwa's era. And now that it's over, they're out. And the BBC, they're scrambling. Reports from inside Broadcasting House suggest that Russell T Davies is under pressure, not to plan a future, but to clean up a present that's already unraveling. So let's go back to Billie Piper. Is she the new Doctor? Or is this another moment? A manifestation of the TARDIS, a ghost of the past, a visual metaphor? Davies won't say. Not because he's being clever, but because he doesn't know. He said it himself. I have no idea. That's not mystery. That's misdirection. And Billie, in her own words, she feels like she never left the show. There's always features new generations pick it up. So it never feels like it's over. Translation: she's always in orbit, always available for a cameo, a twist, a stunt. Because to Davies, Billie Piper isn't a character. She's a symbol, a nuclear nostalgia bomb, deployed when attention is low and headlines are needed. But that's not fair to her. Because if Billie is the new Doctor, she deserves more than confusion and shrugs. She deserves an arc, a companion, a reason. But the truth is, and this is the secret no one is admitting, she may not be playing anyone. She might be a red herring, a placeholder, a reset button for a franchise that has no plan. And that is the most dangerous twist of all. Because Doctor Who was always about change. But change without meaning is chaos. A new face without a new idea is just a mask. And Billie Piper, one of the show's most iconic stars, is now being used not as a Doctor, but as a distraction. So here we are. A former Doctor calling out the show's hollow pacing. A lead regeneration that may mean nothing. A showrunner who admits he's improvising. And a global partner, Disney, slipping quietly out the back door. Where does that leave Doctor Who? What is the real purpose of Billie Piper's return? And what's coming next, if anything at all? Because fans are waking up. And the illusion is starting to